There is a problem in America, in conservative circles and liberal circles, and it's a problem of anti-Semitism. And this is coming right at the time as President Trump is never going to get the credit from the left he deserves for the peace deal. Look, you can count me as a cynic on this. Not on President Trump's effort. I think his effort's been insane. I think it's been extraordinary. I think Jared Kushner, who's a guy I instinctively can't stand, never met him. I just don't like hedge fund people, and I really don't like hedge fund people who've got a bunch of money in crypto and who have a father-in-law in the White House who creates a crypto fund, and that crypto fund is going to pick crypto that's too big to fail, and some of that crypto turns out to be Jared Kushner's. That's the kind of political corruption I hate and most people hate, and even if your friends do it or the politician you support does it, you should hate. So President Trump's not going to get credit for that. Jared Kushner, hard for me to give Kushner credit on that, but he deserves it. And President Trump, of course, the left is not going to remove the bumper strips on the car that say war is not the answer. They're going to keep those there, just pretending that none of this ever happened. And in fact, many Democrats, in fact, the majority of them give Trump little to no credit on this. They're already floating out that Joe Biden's a person that did it. And this is coming at a time where people are verging into anti-Semitism, which is why I'm saying we need to have a realist view of Israel. And that could seem super hard because, and you'd be fair. It'd be fair for you to say, what are you, some kind of Israel expert? Nope. So what, you've studied the country and you have some degree in Middle East studies? Nope. You ever been to Israel? Nope. Are you Jewish? Nope. Have you read the Talmud? Nope. Nope. You studying a rabbi? Nope. So how are you going to give us a realist view of Israel? I'll tell you in a second. President Trump, I think, was at his most relaxed when he went and gave the speech announcing this peace deal. I thought he was at his most humorous and maybe not humble. So sometimes it's hard to tell with President Trump. Sometimes he says things like, well, I'm really the only important one here. And it reminds me of my radio mentor and guy filled in for all those years, Rush Limbaugh, God rest you, Maha, that when Rush was saying things like half my brain tied behind my back, if you ever spoke to him privately, that was part of that was show. He knew he was smart. But part of that was show. And President Trump, he's not going to get credit for this, but he sounded to me his most relaxed.
But when you settle 8 wars in 8 months, that means you don't like war. Everyone thought I was going to be brutal. In fact, I remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, look at him. He's going to go to war with everybody. Mm-hmm. And actually, she said, he's got a personality that's all about war. No, and my personality actually is all about stopping wars. And it seems to work. It seems to work.
Doesn't it seem relaxed? But it has to begin with this very typical Trumpian thing. I've stopped 8 wars. Look, he hates war. You can be really bombastic. You can be filled with your own ego, and man, you can hate war. Because God makes us complex. First thought, in a realist view of Israel, God makes us complex. Here's a hard thing for some people to take. The government of Israel is corrupt. It's corrupt. Now, if I'm picking sides, I pick the corrupt Israeli government over corrupt Hamas. As an evangelical Christian, this is a careful line. It's super important to walk this well. The Jewish people, a remnant of them, will be saved. It's fait accompli. God said it will happen, so in his eyes, it already has. He says a thing will happen, it already has. A remnant of the Jewish people will come to Christ. They will confess with their mouth that he is Lord and Savior. They will be saved, and they will spend eternity with him. Like pagans and atheists and Muslims who don't do that, the Jewish people who don't do that will spend eternity apart from him. It's important to be able to say that. Now, that's not saying the government's corrupt because that's the case. I am taking the government of Israel, and I am separating it from the Jewish people. Just like a whole bunch of Jewish people do, where they oppose Bibi Netanyahu and his government. There's a whole bunch of Jewish people who live in Israel who do that, some of it because of corruption. If you're a really strict Jew, you got to be looking at the government of Israel going, wait, why are we sponsoring LGB so-called T stuff? Why are we sponsoring abortion? Why did we force people to get these injections? So a realist view of Israel is they're not perfect. They make mistakes, like our country does, like our country's corrupt. There's a tendency among conservatives to want to elevate Israel to perfect nation status, not most favored nation, perfect nation status. No nation gets that. And what this does is opens the door to people who have hatred in their hearts. There are loving people who are perfectly able to separate the government of Israel from Jewish people, like our government from us, like the government of Iran from the Iranian people, likewise with the Chinese Communist Party. But somehow Israel, in people's minds, is one and the same. You support the government all in, or you don't support Jewish people. And this opens the door to people who want to sell anti-Semitism. We'll talk about this in a second with a really disturbing video that, thank gosh, isn't getting very much traffic. I think it's AI produced. They're making a strong run at pushing it. Okay, they really want this to take off. Therefore, I'm not going to mention the group, nor am I going to provide the link. It's just something that got pushed at me. You had something pushed at you when you started your small business, or now it's a medium-sized business, maybe it's even large, and that is a quick and fancy and pretty myth. Having a business account and a business credit card and a business debit card means you have the corporate veil. Meaning that if, God forbid, your business had a catastrophic loss and you'd taken out credit, the creditor, like your bank, could not come after your home or your retirement account. Or if, God forbid, you were sued, the sneaky snake lawyer couldn't go after your personal assets. That's a beautiful myth to believe. In all too many cases, people have been in business even 15 years and found out they didn't have the corporate veil. You might not have it. This is a simple problem to solve. Here's a website. It's gobizable.com. That's with a Z, gobizable.com. Go there and they will tell you for free, in a free no obligation consultation, if you have the corporate veil. If you do not, they will solve it for you in 7 easy steps. And that part, yep, they charge you for the fixing, not the telling. And the ROI on this, it's a no-brainer. It's gobizable.com. So this video is making the rounds on social media. It was pushed down at me. I'm not going to mention the group. This is almost certainly AI created, and it is sort of leaning into the anti-Semitic, definitely leaning into the racist territory. Not everyone's going to agree with that. But if you see the video, just notice the signs.
Tired of mass immigration eroding our Christian values? Join the Christian Nationalist Party today. We are the resistance fighting back. Protect our nation, our faith, our future.
Now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is our very kind intelligence services who love us very much, seeking to divide, if it's a color revolution thing. And I am tired of mass illegal immigration. I support President Trump's immigration tactics. Sometimes they seem harsh. I support it. You're lenient when you should be firm. Eventually, you'll be cruel when you should be kind. I support not having our electoral college overthrown by illegal immigrants. I support not allowing countries to flood ours with their criminals and gang members. I support that. And we can be kind. We can be actual Christians. We can be kind to people as we put them in jail cells. We can be kind to them as we deport them. We have to do that. Or to be kind to sojourners. But that entire video casts Jesus only as, not the judge, not the heavenly judge. He's marching at the head of an army, of a human army, something Jesus could have done and didn't. It's also very, very clear that the dark people are the enemy. That's very clear in that video. Now, that's being pushed. It hasn't taken off. But one of the problems that conservatives set up and others when they take Israel and make it the perfect country, not most favored nation, perfect country, is you have people who are taking a realistic view. Say, wait a minute, Israel's made mistakes. There are people who've taken a view of the war in Gaza who've changed their mind saying, no, enough. Enough. I have people I dearly love who've looked at that and said, no, enough. No, you've flattened Gaza. It's destroyed. No, go after the terrorists. We have to be able to say Israel, like other nations, can go too far. And we have to be able to say God has a special relationship with the Jewish people. It's a covenant. And a remnant of them will come back to Christ. That is a fait accompli, because when God says the thing will happen, it's already happened. Glenn Beck took some questions from some young people about Israel. And some of these questions, Glenn, he did a good job of handling it. It made Glenn sort of uncomfortable.
Israel has an overwhelming lobby over the United States government, and we have unconditionally supported them. We have fought their wars in the Middle East. Bibi Netanyahu came to our Congress in the 90s, told us a list of countries that we need to take out. Some were Syria, Iraq, Iran, Libya, etc. Through those wars, we have lost trillions of dollars. We have lost American servicemen.
We're lobbying everybody else, and they will...
No one's clapping for your choice.
They're saying America first or Israel first. It's an easy question. Charlie was America first.
Could I answer my question? Could I answer the question, please?
You're talking about one thing they don't teach in school? They don't teach about the USS Liberty, where Israel literally came, blew up an American ship because they want us to get in their war with Egypt, and they don't teach that in school. I'm just saying.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question.
I have a question. Why is there this societal taboo around criticisms of Israel? For example, AIPAC doesn't have to register as a foreign lobby, but like the Australia lobby does. And it just
that should be changed. That should be corrected. Look, I am not going to say Israel should have any special privileges. None.
Now, after this, I'm told that Glenn went on stage with an Israeli flag and waved it around. Okay, he supports the country. When you take a nation and you ignore its ills and you ignore the voices of young people saying, wait, why do we have to go on to war on their behalf? We haven't, praise God. But why do we have to? Have an answer. And then answer has been whether the one democracy in the Middle East. Okay, that's an answer. We have a special relationship. That's another answer. They lobby the heck out of us. They give us a lot of money to politicians. That's also an answer. The realist view is this. I'm not a theologian. I've not been to Israel. I've not studied the Talmud. I read the Bible. We're all broken by sin. We're all broken by sin problems. We have in our country the result of deciding to have human kings. The prophet Samuel warned us about human kings because God told him to. Israel has human kings. They're going to be fallible, many of them corrupt. When we communicate that realist view, it takes the pressure off of other people and allows them to separate the Israeli government from the Jewish people, and it can defeat anti-Semitism.